Good evening, and beyond Venu, my fond fair friends, family, and subscribers. This is your humble narrator, Diomedes Rouge, here to bring you part 4 of What If Bell Was a Spartan. Now, where we last left off, Bell was recovering in the apothecary. Well, not really apothecary, considering he's in Athens. He's recovering in the medical wing. As, well, he gets healing magic applied to him and begins to recover. That's when Bell begins to ask. As Bell recovers, he asks Lander and Xander, "What happened to Basil and Analea?" Xander replies, "Basil took her out for safety whenever we were all going down." "Good man. He always was quick to act." "Yeah, I can't blame him. I'm just glad he took the girl and ran. If he would have tried taking any of us, we would have slowed him down, easily targeted." "Indeed. He made the smart choice." "What about Analea?" "She's over in the room next door, recovering. From what the doctors say, she's had it rough. Looks like she was abducted, well, a week ago. They were doing experiments on her, trying to bring out her full magical potential so they could harvest it when it was ripe. Unfortunately, they didn't really care about the person. And sometimes I wonder I used to wonder why grandfather banned magic from being taught in Sparta. Now I know, shit like this happens." Yep. Of course, then again, having a few people that can hurl giant fireballs the size of a sun at your enemies could come in handy. Maybe, but that's the reason for our armor and weaponry being so damn good. Good point. One for the wooden core of our shields, we would have taken a lot more damage from those lightning strikes and fire blasts. In case of you who don't realize, I'm using Dark Souls logic here when it comes to magic and saying that wood is more resilient to magical attacks. Basically saying that the core of all Spartan shields is wooden, that is surrounded by metal. So any magical attack first goes into the metal and then is absorbed quickly into the wood, decreasing the amount of power coursing through it. That is all. Back to the story. Indeed. Oh, man. Did we even get anything out of it? Oh, yeah, we got plenty. Oh, well, for one, recognition of Athens, even though it is private. Only a few people know about what we actually did. I see. And 2, shade dust. Shaded dust. As he brings up a pouch filled with fine black powder. Shade dust can be used for many things according to the apothecary. The apothecary. Good God, I'm stuttering. I apologize. According to the apothecary, it can be used for many things. I see. We'll hold on to that. Maybe present it to Father as a gift. As he sees Basil enter his room. "Bell." "I'm fine, Basil," as he gets up out of the bed. "Just a bit sore." As they go in for a hug. "I'm glad you're alive." "Glad to be alive. How did you kill it?" As he quickly jerks back and holds Bell in place. "How did you kill that shade? We all struck at it. We all threw something at it. But it just went through it like it was ethereal." "I don't know," Bell says. And that's when Xander and Lander chime in, being, "Oh, you should have seen it. It was brilliant." Bell, in a heat of rage, decided to beat the thing to death with a torch. What? Apparently it was resistant to physical attacks, but fire was not physical. You should have seen it. A Spartan killing a shade with a torch. Oh, it was funny as hell. Like, that can't be right. Ah, but it is. Trust me. We wouldn't lie to you. As Bell looks behind both of them as their fingers are crossed behind their backs, going, "The hell?" But he doesn't bring it up. Well, if you say so, I'll have to report this to my father. Yes. Now, we should let our captain be at rest here. We'll make sure to make off proper reports and such. Meantime, we'll make some arrangements to be moving to the next city of our travels. Right, the Minotaur, our next target. Indeed. As Basil leaves the room, Bell then quickly sits both Xander and Lander down and in a whispered tone goes, "What actually happened?" Lander and Xander get a nervous look going, "What do you mean?" as they both kind of stare off into the distance. As he quickly grabs their heads, slams them together, and looks them dead in the eye. What happened? What did I do that would make it to where you would lie for me? You started to glow. What? You started to glow. Your eyes turned into a pure silvery light. Your body began emitting this weird white aura, and your blade began to emit a red hue around the edge. And you carved and hacked and slashed and cut that thing down until there was nothing left but the dust. And every single time you hit, you laughed. It was as if you weren't you. You became some sort of, I don't know. But from what I can tell, you were emitting some sort of magical power. Impossible. I was tested when I was young. I have no magical energy. If I was, I would have been trained in the apothecary. I don't know what to tell you, Belle. You have some sort of magic in you. And that's the reason we kept it hidden. Last thing we need is for everyone to figure out that the son of the king, who is now leading men under his command, is magic. Not only would that cause an uprising back home, but the priest would use it. You know this. They would turn you into a weapon. You're right. Last thing we need is to give them even more power. They already control more things than my father wishes for them to do in the first place. I know. So that's the reason we lied. Fine. Just don't keep things hidden from me. To be fair, we didn't really have enough time to tell you. Fair point. Can you give me some water? Sure thing, Belle. As Xander gets up and walks away. Outside, he begins to fetch a pitcher of water. As he turns around and goes back into the room, he sees, Basil standing right at the door. He nearly drops the water. Sir Basil, relax. I heard everything. I won't tell. What? I'm crazy, not stupid. My brother, my cousin, your shield brother. I don't want him to get hurt either. But I knew a torch isn't going to kill a shade, no matter how many times you beat it with it. Don't take me for a fool, Xander. It'll be the last thing you regret. As you wish, your lordship. Relax. I'm not my father. While I'm here, we're all soldiers. Just don't forget that I'm no fool. As you wish. As he enters back in and begins to pour Bell of glass. Thank you, Xander. As he readily drinks it. Okay, what's next? First we should restock on food, as well as proper planning on what's to come. Right. From what I'm hearing, King Minos is, well, irritating to say the least. Indeed. He lets any adventurer who wants challenge the labyrinth. Or any would-be one, at least. From what I hear, he has a hired group of adventurers from Oreo, constantly circling around his palace in one way or another. Guess he figures they're better bodyguards than standard men, huh? Maybe. Either that or, who knows, maybe he just likes surrounding himself with the odd folk. As they continue on. One more week passes as Bell finally regains his strength enough to be able to move properly. He picks up his swords, makes sure they're clean, his spear is sharp, his shield is, well, very well and sturdy, his armor is mended, and they all take off on the boat. But little do they know that Basil is also accompanying them, as he makes himself known. Hello, cousin. Huh? Basil, what are you? I just got a letter from my father this morning. Considering your accomplishments, as well as, well, my downfall of losing 2 of our soldiers, he has decided to strip me of my title of command, and told me that I will be assisting you from here on out until he says otherwise. I see. I apologize. Don't be. What about the other 2? They went back home. Well, to my father's side. I see. Well, it's good to have you along, Basil. The more the merrier, especially when we face a beast. Of course. As eventually they reach the shores of the great city that houses, well, the labyrinth, the maze of the Minotaur. One moment, please. I need to take care of something. As they exit the boat and just begin to take in the sights. So this is Canos. Indeed. As Xander says, a lot of sights to behold here. Granted, a lot of plays as well. Ugh, plays, Lander retorts. Can't these men find better things to do than dress up and reenact old fights and old glories of their once proud nation? I don't know, like maybe go out and find more good fights and more glory. Pompous windbags. As Bell smacks him on the back of the head. Ow! What was that for? Just because they don't uphold our traditions doesn't mean we shit on theirs. But, no buts. Don't get me wrong. A bit of jabbing at one another is fine. But don't crap on a culture you don't know anything about. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're a Spartan or not. I am. Until these people do something that irritates us to a point of where they deserve it, then we can shit all over them. Till then, keep your mouth shut. Yet you were fine with Athens? Athens has done more than enough to deserve my wrath. Crete, Canos, they haven't done anything to hate me, to earn my hatred yet. So until they do, we keep our mouths shut and we keep our ears open. Is that understood? Xander, Lander, and Basil say, yes, sir, White Wolf. You guys are gonna rub that in, aren't you? Oh, yeah. As they head throughout the city, they ask them in their Spartan attire with the crimson capes and the large shields and spears attract a lot of attention. Why aren't they wearing the cloaks like they wore in Athens? Because in Athens, they didn't want to be noticed. Here they do. They want to be seen. They want people to talk. They want to catch Minos' attention. And they do. As a messenger comes in telling him that 4 Spartans have entered the city of Crete. They've entered the city of Canos. Crete is the state, not the city. My apologies. As Minos just chuckles as he eats his grapes. Interesting. This will be quite entertaining. As, well, he calls for them to be brought forward. And so they are. As they are all brought forward, well, needless to say, things did not go as expected. King Minos says, well, aren't you going to introduce yourselves? You come into my city unannounced, wearing your colors, waving your banners, if you will, bearing arms as if you're going to run the place. As Bell gets down on one knee and, well, his men follow suit. No, sir. We did not wish to step on your toes. We merely wished for you to acknowledge us. Oh? Strange, a Spartan being humble. Looks like not all of you are barbarians after all, as Bell grits his teeth. No, sir, we are not. We are shush. I speak. You speak when are told. I speak. You do so only when you are told. This is my court. Now apologize. My apologies, Your Highness. I wish no offense. You would know if I'm offended. Now, why would a ragtag group of Spartans dirty my floors? We wish to challenge your labyrinth, sir. Oh? You wish to run the maze of the Minotaur? Yes, sir. Not many people willingly go through with it anymore. After all the blood-curdling screams that echo throughout the chambers, it's almost as if people learned. Of course, then again, when have Spartans ever tried learning anything? as he begins to, well, take a bite of a date. In case you don't know, that's a type of fruit. As Bell grits his teeth even harder. Sir, may I speak, sir? I am not a sir, you dog. I am a king, and you will address me as such. Permission to speak, your majesty. Permission granted. Thank you, your majesty. As Bell stands up, I do not recall giving you permission to stand. As that's when Bell has it, and he slams the butt of his spear onto the marble ground, cracking it. Not the spear, but the ground. As he yells, I do not ask permission to stand. I came here humbly. I came here as a friend, a fellow Greek, to ask permission before running your so-called gauntlet. Because the weak and feeble men of Crete seem unable to complete your task. So we figured that you needed proper, strong, strapping men to show your weak, pathetic, idiotic, moronic sacks of shit how things are properly done. But if you do not wish to have your gauntlet run and your minotaur bested, then we shall gladly take our leave. We shall gladly move onward with our tasks. For we do not need to be here. We do not need to stay here. We do not need to bring glory to you, or to say, oh, maybe your gauntlet was tough enough to where even the Spartans couldn't handle it, to where even the proper men of Sparta could not conquer the Minotaur. But instead, you wish to sit there like a toad with a cheap crown. So yes, Minos, I challenge you. Send us to this so-called maze, and let me show you what proper men can do, unless you're afraid. Minos, gritting his teeth, bloodshot eyes glaring at Bell as he begins to move and stand up. Oh, what a sight that is. Oh, what a sight that is. The sight of the fat Minos standing. As he stands, you can just see the jiggle, jiggle, jiggle of his belly as he waddles over, pointing his fat finger at Bell, demanding that he apologize. Who does he think he is? As Bell quickly takes his spear, turns it around, and stabs it into the marble floor, walks straight past his hand, and looks him dead in the eye. I am the White Wolf of Sparta, Bell, son of Leonidas. You don't scare me, for I am the prince of true men, and I serve a true king who fights for his people and doesn't grow fat off of their work and labor, as he shoves his belly and knocks him to the ground. Now, take me to your gates of the Minotaur. As the guards all arm themselves, several of which are adventurers, drawing their swords. one of which happens to be a blonde-haired female, a relatively young woman, very quiet, very staunch, eyeing him, watching him. For those of you who know Dan Machi, you know who this is. For those of you who don't, well, you're going to have to wait until it appears again, because I ain't saying her name. I'm evil. In addition to her, well, there are also a few other Amazons out there, watching in awe as this, what appears to be this very flustered man being shoved around by what they think is was just a mere soldier, but it turns out to be a prince in a foreign land not his own, and yet more than willing to stand his ground against a king. He is either very brave or very foolish, they think. But he does not care, nor does he pay them any heed. He notices them, sure, because they're drawing weapons. But he does not care whether they think of him a barbarian, or think of him a hero, or think of him a villain. All he cares about is getting what he is owed. As Xander, Lander, and Basil are just chuckling under their breaths, just, oh, how they think in their heads. Lander thinking, yep, figured this was gonna happen. Xander going, oh, he fucked up right from the get-go. And Basil going, yep, that's my cousin for you. Crazy whenever it comes to his pride. As Minos stands up and he says, gods, take these bastards to the gates. And he tells Belle, you're not allowed to leave until you either kill the Minotaur. You're not allowed to leave until the Minotaur is dead. If you try to leave before then, you will die. You will be executed. There is no escape. As Belle just walks up to him, just looks him in the eye and says, good. We weren't going to leave until that bitch was dead anyways. We want to see what it's like. We want you to see what it's like when your biggest pride is stripped from you. Let's see how long you can keep your people under your thumb without the threat of the Minotaur. Eh? Minos? As he walks away with the guards. Basil, Xander, and Lander are both laughing their asses off. Going, oh, did you see his face, Lander? Oh, did I ever? It looked as if the man was trying to burst at the seams. I didn't think a man could turn that shade of purple. Oh, you have no idea. It was awesome. It was awe-inspiring watching Belle rip into him. As Basil goes, oh, you have no idea about Belle's anger. He has more anger in him that would put even his father to shame. Oh, really? Oh, you should have seen it. One time, my father got angry with me and struck me during the middle of our combat training. Belle, well, he was a bit younger than me, only around 4, and he charged in, took his father's shield off his arm, and then started kicking and beating my father, trying to knock him down for hurting his cousin, yelling something along the lines of, you dirty bastard, how dare you hurt my cousin, as he slammed the shield into his knee. To this day, my father still walks with a bit of a limp. Oh, damn, Belle. What? It's not like What? He hurt my cousin. Like, that was his father, though. That was their training. It's like, I didn't care. I was 4. I didn't care. I was 4. Like, I barely knew how to walk straight. Yeah, apparently you injured a man nearly for life. It's like, Yeah. Belle, sometimes you're scary. Yeah. You know what? Never mind. As they continue to be escorted, a couple of the guards who are escorting them are, well, both Amazonian, and they both turn towards them and say, "Hey, if you survive, we'll be more than willing to give you a bit of a treat if you get out." "Oh," Xander says. Lander agrees, as they both eye up the beauties, and then Belle turns in and says, "Oh, how many times have you offered that to the guys going into this place?" "About to every one of them." "And how many of them have ever cashed in on that?" "None." "Figured. Come on, guys. We got a minotaur to kill." She says, "Awesome. Sounds like a good plan to me." "Wait for me, lady. Wait for us, ladies. We'll be out soon." As they blow them kisses. As the Amazonians just look and go, "They're gonna die, aren't they?" "More than likely." As Basil just thinking, "How do I get myself into this situation with these idiots?" As well, they charge in. And oh boy, do they charge in. They start, well, as any maze starts, in a giant fucking maze. They wander around somewhat aimlessly, they think, until they realize that Belle is taking every single right turn. And that's when they say, "Belle, what are you doing?" You can see that that thing is clearly, a straight corridor. It just has a bit of a dip into it. Why are you going down it? Old trick my father taught me whenever he would get lost. Keep your spear out to the right and keep it in contact with the wall or any other object. Eventually you'll find your way out. How did he ever figure out this trick? When he got lost in the palace of Athena. When he got lost in the under palace of Athena. How did he get there? Apparently he was invited to an orgy and he didn't like it. Oh, weird. Yeah, Dad was weird. Yeah, Dad is weird, but faithful. Gotta give him credit on that. He's faithful. To be fair, with a woman like your mother, I would be too. I mean, no offense, but I've seen how she can swing that. I've seen how she can swing. Yeah, she's legitimately scary, Basil says. That is a good point. I've never really factored that in. Who knows? Hopefully I'll get a woman like that one day. As Lander and Xander both just kind of go, "Well, maybe if you ever go out and search for a woman." Come on, guys. This is not the time and place to be talking about women. You're the one that started it. But, fair point. As they suddenly start hear roaring. Echoing through the chambers. And then they hear what sounds like a man. "You won't take me alive, beast!" As he begins to, well, the footsteps begin to get louder and louder. "You may be big, but you're not fast." As they notice that it's getting closer and closer to them. As this one man scurries from around the corner, and, well, they see a 12-foot tall, big, burly, double-headed, axe-wielding minotaur. Oh yeah, this ain't the minotaur from the dungeons. No. This is like the progenitor of the minotaurs. This mofo huge. This mofo beefy. And this mofo tough. And he is actually somewhat hard, as you will soon find out. As they see this man run, and, well, essentially used the Spartans as a springboard and jumps over them. And in his mind he goes, wait, are those Spartans? Nope, just hallucinating, as he just, but rather not test it out just to be on the safe side, as he just kind of runs, jumps, and uses their shoulder to launch forward. He goes, what do you know? Maybe I'm not as delirious as I thought. I guess 3 days of water without water won't make you that delirious, as he takes off faster and faster. As Basil turns around and looks at the guy who just used his shoulder as a leaping pad, as a stepping stool, that's whenever Bell just says, "Focus! Shield formation!" As they all raise their shields, boom! The axe collides and bounces off the unified wall. Boom! 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 The axe clangs against their shields, metal against metal, each time denting, nicking, and causing, well, wear and tear on both the axe and the shield, as it constantly hits harder and harder and harder, as they get moved back inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard. Or for those of you who don't use freedom measurements, centimeter by centimeter, meter by meter. Yeah, that's about as much as I am going to go into that with those of y'all who don't use freedom measurements, because I'm American. I use freedom measurements. Yes. I'm gonna get so many hates. I'm gonna get so much hate in the comment for that. I don't care. America, hell yeah. Anyways, the axe clangs and batters and bings off their shields over and over and over. As well, they retaliate again and again, each time thrusting their spears into this monstrous beast, drawing blood, making it holler in pain, but it does not care. It wants their blood, and it will do nothing to stop. As they keep on getting beaten and battered, eventually Bell calls for the withdrawal. Move back, he says. Move back. Cover your positions and move back. We can't hold this thing off forever. What are you talking about, Bell? As the beast itself begins to hit harder and harder, it goes, "Listen, we won't be able to survive too much more. We need to get we need to get room between this thing and us. Formulate a strategy. Right now we're doing a battle of endurance, and right now it's winning." "I hate running," Xander says. "So do I," Lander says. "But you're right." As they both fall back, Bell dodging and weaving around it, causing it to focus in on him and him alone. He shouts towards Basil, "You're in charge. Keep them together." As Bell runs off further into the maze, dragging the minotaur behind him. Basil says, "What just happened?" "I think we became disorganized from the attack," Xander says. Lander, "Yep, I concur." This is not going well. Nope. As then they see from out the corner of their eyes a somewhat small and petite man peeking from around the corner saying, "Is it gone?" "Yes, and who are you?" "Ah, pleasure to meet you. Name's Jace." "Jace?" "Yes, Jace." "Okay, Jace. Why are you down here?" "Oh, well, you see, I wound up coming across my sister currently being fondled and groped by a greedy nobleman. I, in turn, didn't like the idea, so I took a rock and bashed him in the head with it over and 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 over until there was a giant red pool." Uh-huh. "And how long have you been down here?" "Oh, 2 weeks." 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Uh-huh. You haven't tried to get out? Oh, plenty of times. But I get threatened to be killed as soon as I try and go for the exit. They say, gotta kill the minotaur in order to get out. Be like, I have tried. That thing doesn't die, and it heals itself. What do you mean? I used to have a bow and arrow. I shot that thing a couple times. It didn't work. And whatever it did, it would heal from. Literally, faster you can damage it, it will heal. It's annoying. But we were stabbing it just fine. Oh, it looks like it was just fine. Until you give it about 30 seconds, and then it'll start healing again. And again, and again, and again, and again. It's unstoppable. We're all gonna die, he says with a big grin on his face. As then Xander walks up and just kinda, boom, right in his nose, as he falls on the ground and is rendered unconscious with a bloody nose. Is that really necessary, Xander? Basil says. What? He was annoying. Get him up. He may be useful. As they pour some water over him and everything, he goes, water! As he snatches the skin out of Lander's hand, and Lander goes, hey! As he begins to, well, chug the water. Oh, gosh. Oh, that feels so good. Oh, you have no idea how long I've been without water. Oh, God. Oh. Ow, my nose hurts. Okay, what do you want? Are you gonna kill me, or what? We need your help. What? You know this place, right? Oh, like the back of my hand. I've had 2 weeks down here. Scrounging and searching for food is rough. But you occasionally find a good rat, some good moss. I know a few hiding spots. Very good. No, we don't need that. We need a place where we can fortify, make a position, look for our commander. Oh no, that guy's dead. No, he's not. Yes, he is. I guarantee you, he's gonna die real soon. Just wait for blood-curdling screams. You underestimate him. No, you underestimate the Minotaur. The Minotaur is unbeatable. Nothing can kill it. Nothing will kill it. It is unstoppable. Meanwhile, we cut back to Bell, currently fighting the Minotaur. He turns around and sees what puncture wounds were then healed, and he goes, knew it. I knew something felt off. I knew my instincts were right. As he begins to move faster and faster, blocking and parrying any attack that may come his way, relying mainly on his primal instincts to keep him alive. He goes, okay, think. He notices traps have been set on the ground. Everything from simple snares, wires, to bear traps, and, well, even dart traps. He jumps, wall climbs, maneuvers, rolls, does whatever he can to avoid the attacks, avoid the traps, just stay alive. Until eventually he finds himself, well, cornered. And that's when Bell thinks, all right, now I got you. As the Minotaur charges, and he goes, let's see if you can handle what a Spartan can do, eh, Minotaur? As the Minotaur charges him, raising his axe up, beginning to bring it down, as Bell ducks underneath, takes out his capiche, and stabs it right in between his legs as he slides underneath. Oh yeah, I went there. He jams it straight between the legs, as far up to the hilt as it can go. And he hauls ass as the Minotaur screams in unbelievable agony and pain and suffering as Bell runs faster and faster, moving like the wind. He goes, well, that should slow you down for some time. As the Minotaur wails and the echoing continues until it catches up with, well, Xander, Lander, Basil, and Jace. And Jace goes, "Wait a minute. That's not a human yell. Told you, never underestimate our boss. He probably killed that thing by now." "Nope, Minotaur doesn't scream like that unless he's been really pissed off. Unless he's really pissed off." "Oh? And how do you know?" "I pissed him off before." "How'd you do that?" "I kicked it in the nuts." "You kicked it in the nuts?" "Yep, I have a feeling your friend did the exact same thing." "Why?" "'Cause that's the sound it makes whenever you kick it in the nuts." Of course, it's a lot louder, so I guess he kicked it really hard." "Well, he is a spartan after all. Guess he found a way to distract it long enough to get away." As we come back to, he says, "All right, bring us to an area where we can fortify. Our commander will meet up with us eventually." "You guys sure have a lot of faith in that guy." "Bell is beyond someone who you have faith in. Bell is someone you can rely on no matter what. He makes the impossible possible," Xander remarks. "Yep. I already made the mistake once about doubting his power. It cost me 10 lashes. Each one of them is a reminder. Each scar tells me, never lose faith in that man, 'cause it'll cost you." Basil says, "Yep. Even in the darkest hour, he'll find some way to get out of the situation." "We'll see," Jace says as he brings him over to his favorite little nook. As eventually, they hear dum 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 dum. "Wait a minute. I know that telltale clunk clunk. That's Spartan armor." As Xander says, "Bell, over here! Over here! Over here! Over here!" As Jace walks up and just kind of smacks him in the back of the head. "Well, thank you for telling us we're tailing them echoing. Thank you for signaling the Minotaur where we're all going to be, you dumbass." As Bell quickly hears this and, well, runs to where the echoing started. "Hey guys, are you alright?" "Yeah. What happened to one of you? You're missing a sword." "Yep. Found a way to get away from it." "What did you don't want to know. Let's just put it this way. Even if that bastard can heal, I highly doubt he'll be having children anytime soon." "Damn, Bell. That's a bad way to go." "Oh, it ain't dead. I know it." As he begins to walk over to them, he pulls out some water, drinks a bit of it, and begins to chow down on some bread. "Okay, I'm good. I need to catch my breath. So, I found a way to kill this thing." "What?" "It can heal from virtually every strike. However, we just have to make sure we give something to where it can't heal from." "Whoa, and how do you figure that?" "Simple." As he takes a pouch of, well, void powder and begins to rub it on the tips of everyone's spear. "What the hell are you doing?" "Simple. From what we remember, the undead are naturally unclean. They're toxic to living flesh." "Yes, so we cover our tips in that. We cover the tips of our spears with it. And then each one of us at one time aim for the center heart. We pump enough toxin into it. We overload its ability to heal. It dies. And what if it doesn't do anything? Then we're fucked. An all or nothing gamble, eh, Bell?" "Well, yeah." All right, I like it, Basil says. We've lived through worse. Ain't that right? Hell yeah. Might as well. As they all get together. Who's this guy? This is the crazy bastard that used me as a platform earlier. Hi, name's Jace. He's been relatively useful. I see. Well, that's good to hear. Why is he here? Killed a noble. I like him already, Belle says. Wait, it was one of their nobles, right? Yes. I like him already, Belle says. As they all raise their shields up, and Belle just starts banging on his. Come here, you big no-bald monster! Come and face Strowman! Come and face the wrath of Sparta! As they hear a loud as the minotaur slowly lumbers. As it gets closer and closer, they see this hulking behemoth with glowing red eyes, furious as can be as it charges. And he says, hold. With all your strength and vigor, hold. Let nothing through, for we are Spartans, and nothing gets past our wall. As they all hunker down, they plant their feet in the ground, and they all feel invigorated, like some sort of overwhelming force is holding them together. Is it the strength of a god? Who knows? Is it... Sorry about that mild interruption. Fallout? You're welcome, and quit calling mid-recording! Now, the behemoth charges forward and was it a god's strength that fortified them? Possibly. Was it the strength of their will and resolve? Probably. Was it the sheer fact that someone was believing in them, knowing that they could hold off this monster, knowing that no matter what happened, they were a bulwark that could not be stopped? Possibly? They don't know how or why, but whenever the monster clashed with their shields, it was rebuffed. Each one of them moved in unison, as if a perfect thing, as if a perfect machine in rhythm, a machine of war. All the power from their shields rebuffed the attack and parried it as they moved it off to the side, as they took aim with their spears and pierced the beast's chest, pumping the toxin of the void pure within its body. Slowly but surely, the beast, as they ripped the spears out, began to bleed, and its blood quickly turned from a flowing crimson to a black, soupy ooze. As it began to roar in pain, as it picked up its axe and began to swing down again. But it wasn't nowhere near as hard as the last time. And again, boom! But the attack just kept getting weaker and weaker as the beast began to fall further and further, until it finally perished. As Bell then took his khopesh, went behind the monster's head, and hacked it off. Piece by piece, he severed the tendons, each and every whack, carving more of it, until he finally ripped it off, and began hoisting it over his head, the blood drenching over his armor, as he just laughed. Victory is ours! As they took Jace and said, we couldn't have done this without you. You led us to a fortified position, as well as, well, nothing really else, but you did help us, so we'll help you. You're with us. sorry about that. As they continued. He says, well, thank you. I accept. Good. Because they'll likely kill you for killing a noble still. If they get their hands on you. As, well, the team led by Bell walks out with their heads held high, bloodied, battered, beaten, but with the Minotaur's head. Bell tells Xander, Lander, Basil, and Jace to head to the nearest boat and order it to be moving. But what if they disagree? God bless it. One moment, guys. Sorry about that. Had to turn off notifications there. But what if they don't want to? God damn! Again, sorry about that. So, if they don't pay double, and if they still refuse, well, let them know that they are dealing with the guy who just slew the Minotaur. Right? As they all go off, Bell has unfinished business as he walks up the steps to the palace of the palace, the head of the Minotaur in his hands, as he is bloodied and smiling very wide. The guards attempt to stop him, but are, well, not really willing to as he enters in, as Minos looks at first irritated and then, well, shocked. I am Bell, son of Leonidas, future king of Sparta, and I killed your Minotaur, Minos. Your kingdom is not so scary after all. No longer can you hide behind the threat of the Minotaur. No longer will your subjects fear you. All because of one ragtag group of savage, barbaric Spartans, as he spits on his floor. Now you can take your pompous, fat, irritating ass, and you can sit down and think for just the briefest of moments about how fucked you are. As he walks off, carrying the head. And that's where I'm going to leave off, guys. I hope you all had a beautiful time. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all stay safe. This has been your humble narrator, Diomedes Rouge, telling you, be ready for tomorrow.